Hypocrisy.
Hey, what's up, YouTube? I'm back. That's right, I was banned from the platform. I have been suspended. I have been maligned and ridiculed, and they tried to destroy me, but they couldn't. We have beaten the censors. We have beaten the censors, and I am going to tell you exactly how it happened. And then I'm going to tell you exactly what is next. Because, well, when you live life a certain way, and that certain way comes and explodes in your face, maybe in the middle of a live stream, for example, with like 20,000 people watching, you go ahead and you reevaluate what you're up to. And you try and figure out a way to make that not happen again, because I'll tell you, it's not fun. It is not fun at all, but thank you for joining me for this. This is the story about how I got kicked off of YouTube and came right back. So you guys probably know me. Maybe, I guess. If you're new to the channel from this video, my name is Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. I make YouTube content. I make live streams primarily, and those live streams are a little bit spicy. Sometimes they're fueled by liquor. Other times they're fueled by rage. Other times they're fueled by just good vibes and comedy. It really is just a variety show, but there's kind of a centralized theme, and that is a pseudo attachment to the law. If you're looking for in-depth legal analysis, sometimes you find it here. If you're looking for joke legal analysis, sometimes you find that here. If you look for me calling somebody an idiot, you find that quite a bit. But that's the kind of show that I run. It is multifaceted, and I enjoy all of those facets. Because it is multifaceted, sometimes you might rub someone the wrong way. And when you rub someone the wrong way, they might want to ruin what you have. They want to ruin what you've built. They don't want you to succeed. And even worse, they want you to not only fail, but be prevented from the possibility of success anywhere. And you've seen this in multiple places in popular society. I mean, this is not limited to little old me on the internet. This has become a common trend in the mainstream. We have allowed these Karens, some of them were Kevins, to go ahead and come at us and to actually stop people from doing what they want to do based on a difference of opinion. Now, they'll never frame it that way, right? Because if you frame it as, well, I have a different opinion than this person, therefore they should be canceled. Well, that sounds awful. That sounds almost like that would be a terrible society to live in. What they frame it is this person hates XYZ and shouldn't be allowed to speak. This person wants to kill XYZ and shouldn't be allowed to speak. This person said a nasty word about XYZ and shouldn't be allowed to speak. It's always something about some group that they don't think you should, they'll just project a hatred upon you and then lie about it. And they have no problem lying. In fact, they have so little problem lying about it that they'll just admit it. They'll tweet that I know my enemies are ontologically evil, therefore any action I take is justified. They believe that the ends justify the means. Therefore, there is no rule, there is no limit to what they will do. They don't have a moral issue with misrepresenting someone for the purpose of their destruction if that person is an other voice. And this is ultimately what happened to my channel. But let's get to the backstory, okay? So earlier in October of 2022, I was doing a live stream covering the Darrell Brooks trial. And in the middle of that live stream, my show was cut off. My YouTube studio was deleted. My chat window disappeared. And there was no notice to anybody other than me. And the only notice I got, which came after the fact, which came in the midst of my phone exploding with notifications. Your YouTube channel is gone. Your channel's deleted. What happened? Are you okay? What's going on with YouTube? Hundreds to thousands of messages spamming my phone. It didn't stop buzzing for hours. And in that miasma of stuff, one email from YouTube. We have found your channel to be repeatedly violating community guidelines, and we have deleted your channel. That's it. That's what you get. That's what it says. I've been on YouTube almost 5 years. It was November 2017 that I posted my first real video. My first real video. I have built this channel against the algorithm. I have built this channel against YouTube's preferred voices. I have built this channel against topics that YouTube does not really enjoy, endorse, or allow. I have done it strictly through working really, really hard, making really good connections with everybody that I can, and trying to skirt the line of freedom and censorship as close as possible with the most integrity I could muster to who I am. I've done it by just being honest about me. I don't come on here and pretend to be something I'm not. And I don't come on here to boast about some great thing I've done or to misrepresent anything about myself. I am open with my audience. I am honest with my content and opinions. And that means you don't hold back. That means you don't hold back. And I also like to have a lot of fun, because that's really what we should all be striving for, is to marry entertainment and employment. But I have done that. I have worked through all of that on my own. I did not get much help from YouTube, we'll say. I didn't do that. I became one of the top earning streamers on the entire planet. Again, against the tide of YouTube, against preferred content, against what I see to be as all odds, other than betting specifically on myself. And I am feeling it right now, a rant about how much you are worth that no one wants to tell you. But that's not this video. This video is a story. So for 5 years, I have been building this channel, and in one instant, it was gone. Now, I knew this was possible. Of course, you know this is possible. When you work on YouTube, you know that at any point your channel is actually subject to termination, really at their whim. They can make a decision that you cannot be on the platform and just cut you off. But they've set a framework of rules as well that can help you kind of predict how that will go. Now, it's not a perfect framework. Sometimes you can get thrown off this platform with no warning, with no strikes, with nothing. But in my case, I did have 2 active strikes. Now, I'll tell you about each one of those. But first, you have to understand how the strike system works. It starts with a warning. You get 1 warning on your YouTube channel ever. Once you get that 1 warning, it will never go away. It will permanently be there. My first warning came in the midst of the COVID epidemic, pandemic, scamdemic, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. I'm not commenting on COVID here. I'm just talking about when it happened. Joe Biden was delivering a speech. I was covering that speech live. It was a COVID update. And in that speech, Joe Biden said that they were going to be returning children to public schools, that was a policy decision of the United States to get children back into schools. This is after about a year of distance learning. And they wanted to make sure that these kids had the opportunity to be back in the classrooms that they had grown used to. In doing so, he mentioned that COVID itself did not seem to affect children in the same way that it affected adults. And the statistics had borne this out for quite some time. I agreed with President Biden. I said, yeah, we've known this for a while. This is actually a really good choice. There's no reason that these kids should be kept out of schools when the data doesn't support these kids being at massive risk for COVID transmission or anything like that. According to the science, this is what we have seen. This is what they've been saying. However, the CDC had not officially updated its page at the time of my strike, that warning strike. They had not officially updated to say that that was the policy. So even though Joe Biden said it, even though the CDC would later implement it, my agreement with the President of the United States merited a channel strike. Now, since it happened to be my first official strike, it was a warning. It would be there forever. Forever. I appealed that several times. I tried to get that removed. I said it was bogus. No help, nothing. So that's going to stick with you. Okay. This is the fairness of the system. They write a set of rules, and even if you follow those rules, you can still get a strike. Now, once you have a warning strike, you can get subsequent strikes, and this is on a 3-strike system after your warning. And remember, the warning is forever. So once you've got it, you've got 3 strikes left for your channel. However, those subsequent strikes will fall off after 90 days. So there's a rolling 90-day window from your first strike before you can get 2 more. If you get 3 strikes within 90 days, your channel is deleted and you are removed from the platform permanently. So my first strike, I'm a legal commentator. I'm also, I'm a bit of a, we'll just go with legal commentator. I'm a legal commentator, and part of legal commentary and analysis when it regards popular culture is to look at things like police shootings, is to look at situations that involve criminal acts, and to talk about those criminal acts. Okay, well, in this case, back in July, I believe it was, I had done a video that involved a knife fight. Well, it wasn't a knife fight the whole time. It was a fist fight at first. It involved a fight in an Australian shopping mall. And in this Australian shopping mall, 2 groups of men young men were engaged in a back and forth. Some were walking away. The other group was pursuing that group, and they would turn around and kind of get close to getting into a fight over and over. Well, one of them happened to have a knife in his hand, and he just tags the neck of another person. And you can't really tell in the video what has happened very easily. You just see a swing, and you see the other guy kind of stop. And he goes like this. He kind of looks, and there's a bunch of red blood that sprays on the floor. And after about, 15 seconds, the whole clip, I think, is 40 seconds. After about 15 to 20 seconds, he just collapses. He died. Turns out arterial spray can drain your body very, very quickly. And him being engaged in probably a high energy thing where he's following someone. They're walking a lot. His heart rate was probably elevated and probably pushed that even faster. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Doesn't matter. So we look at this. We talk about some of the self-defense type implications. But then I mentioned that this was senseless violence. And I went into a discussion about how the pride of young men particularly gets them killed at a massive level, that there's this need of the young to have their, I don't know, themselves validated to the point that their pride, rather than boosting them into something good, will get them actually killed and removed from the planet, and how horrible that senseless violence is. Okay? YouTube has a policy. YouTube's policy is that you cannot show graphic violence for the purpose of shocking and disturbing your audience. Now, YouTube used to have a no dead people policy, but that changed after George Floyd because so many channels got in trouble for footage of George Floyd dying. This channel included. But after George Floyd and through the 2020 Summer of Love, the riots, right? People were showing footage all the time of people engaged in violence, of people engaged in dangerous activity, and sometimes people getting killed, like George Floyd, like other police shootings, like the shooting of Ma'Khia Bryant or Rayshard Brooks. These are on YouTube. They've been on YouTube for a long time. And it allowed people to show this footage, one, for news purposes, and two, for commentary purposes. Legal analysis falling in that category. And for the most part, after George Floyd, I had almost no trouble discussing these things. I had almost no trouble uploading videos and doing live streams that did involve the unfortunate deaths of some people because we were doing commentary with it. So I had no thought that my showing of a 40-second video clip with commentary about how senseless and horrible the violence was and what my thoughts on it were in a 5-hour live stream would be violative of the rule that allows specifically for what I had done. YouTube disagreed. They applied the strike to my channel, rejected all of my appeals. Now, one other wrinkle in this story is that I have a YouTube partner manager, and I have since around 80,000 subscribers. And that is someone who primarily helps you with business focus of your channel. Here's how we want you to increase your views, increase your subscribers, make more enticing thumbnails, pick topics, figure out themes of videos, series of videos, other things that creators have found success in. These partner managers are able to aggregate information from those creators and then share it out. It's a nice way to learn from other people who are having success. Now, I've had one since about 80,000 subscribers. I actually had one previously, and then they assigned me a new one as my person moved to a different position. And hey, buddy, I don't know if you check up on me at all, but I still like you a lot. You're a cool dude. But that being said, I do have a channel partner manager. And whenever anything like this happens, you know, we can ask them for help and assistance and escalation with things like appeals. She was unable to convince them that this was perfectly fine. They still disagreed even with her. So that was my first strike. That was a 7-day suspension. I've done a video on it because YouTube actually suspended me for 10 days, not 7, but for 10 days. And then we later got information that they blamed me for not unlocking my channel at 7 days. Just so you know, there's no way to unlock your channel. There is never a button to click. There is nothing you can do. It comes back on its own. But that was apparently my fault. Now we're going to get into the mass flagging campaign that brought my channel down. But it starts with the second strike. There's a YouTube and Twitch and Twitter content creator that goes by Keffels. And let me be very clear. I'm not asking for any action, retaliatory or otherwise, against Keffels. I merely am telling a story. I don't want people to engage anybody on my behalf at all. I am me. I am happy to engage on my own, to fight my own fights, as it were. I am not interested in anybody stepping out on my behalf on Twitter or anywhere else. And here is one of the big reasons why, is because Keffels and their community engage in organized, targeted harassment, doxing, and life ruination of people that they disagree with. I do not want anyone going on my behalf, engaging them, and then having these people try and ruin their life. Now, their common tactic is to call someone a transphobe and to show the world how much a particular person hates trans people. And it doesn't matter if it's true, because the narrative right now is so strong. Trans is a protected class, and it's in the ascendancy in the United States. They gave trans activism some of the most power you will see in the social zeitgeist. And this is what Keffels and their community leverage against other people. This is what they leverage against me. Despite me never saying anything negative about trans people in general, I took umbrage with documented actions of Keffels, actions that are documented by the words of Keffels, in which they supported providing hormone replacement therapy drugs, pharmaceutical drugs that require prescriptions, supplying those to children outside of the consent or knowledge of their parents or doctors. I think that is an appalling thing to do. I think it's also probably quite illegal to facilitate that. But it probably depends on how that facilitation occurs. Keffels also supported a website which specifically intended to provide homebrew estrogen replacement therapy. So you would make it on your own, or you would, the minor who they were targeting would make it on their own. I expressed distaste, we'll say, with people who go after children. This is a consistent theme on my channel. I believe that one of the things society has as an obligation is to protect the life and health of children. And people who want to subvert that for their own political ends are horrifying monsters. Keffels is a horrifying monster for other reasons, but particularly this. But it has nothing to do with Keffels being trans. It has everything to do with their actions. So long story short, I expressed a spicy take, a spicy opinion about that. Now, part of that live stream was clipped out of its context. It was distorted, and most importantly, Keffels went to Twitter and lied about it and said that I had called for Keffels to be shot in the head, something I have never done and would not do. What would result is the following things. My second YouTube strike. The deletion of my Twitter account. A Twitch channel suspension would eventually result as well. And 45 ethics complaints to the Minnesota Lawyers Professional Responsibility Office. Now, spoiler alert, here's how it would go. My Twitch is back. My YouTube channel is back. And all 45 of those ethics complaints were dismissed without investigation as non-meritorious. But this stuff takes time. However, this is only my second strike. What was the third strike? What happened next? How did your channel get deleted? Well, as it turns out, while doing my Daryl Brooks coverage, or actually, I guess the day before, one of the things I had done was and this is something I've done several times in the past. When I get an ethics complaint, particularly related to what I say on YouTube, because that's the only time I have ever received an ethics complaint. I have never in the course of my legal practice received an ethics complaint. But people don't like your opinion on YouTube, and they go to the only manager they can find, which is the state licensing agency. In this case, Keffels, along with Alejandra Caballero, who is another trans activist who works for Harvard University, suggested to 100,000 plus people that they should file ethics complaints, and most importantly, that both Keffels and Alejandra would be filing ethics complaints as well. In the end, 45 complaints came through and were dismissed. 2 people were not on that list, though. Keffels and Alejandra. They gaslit their audience. They gaslit their audience into filing ethics complaints, while they themselves were too much of cowards to do so. I'm guessing they didn't want to be embarrassed by what would follow. But they chose not to participate. Instead, they induced 45 people to do something extremely, extremely stupid. When you file an ethics complaint against a Minnesota lawyer, and it's probably true of other states as well, probably all of them, you are entering into an official legal action involving a state enemy or state entity, and probably a state enemy, but that's a separate story. To do so, you need to identify yourself, your name, your home address, your phone number, your email address. You provide these to the state so that the state knows who's making the complaint. It says on that form that your personal information will be transmitted to the attorney. You see, we have this little thing in America called the Sixth Amendment. And when you're an attorney, you don't forfeit any of your constitutional protections. They can be abridged in certain circumstances. When you're in the courtroom, you can't start singing the lyrics to Wet Ass Pussy. It doesn't work that way. Unless it's relevant to the case, then you actually can. But for the most part, we're going to go ahead and call that one off limits. It's not a popular thing to do in a courtroom. But outside of very limited circumstances, you maintain all of the rights of every other citizen. That's why they're rights. The Sixth Amendment is a right to confront your accuser. So if someone's going to accuse you of something, you have a right to know who that is, to identify that person. And it tells you this when you're filing the complaint. This information will be turned over to the attorney that you are accusing. If you are not comfortable with them having this information, please stop filling it out. What I would go on to do is to read the ethics complaints that I got. I read every ethics complaint that I get. I operate in transparency. And in doing so, I would read the names of all 45 people. And oh my goodness, did that launch them into a panic. How dare he? How dare he read our names? How dare he tell the world who did this? Now, did I ask anybody to do anything to anyone? No, I never do. Never do anything like that. That would be bad and lame. Take note, y'all. That's the people that you follow who do that. I merely provided transparent information about my accusers. It was their names. And they went ballistic. Absolutely ballistic about it. Fine. You can go ballistic. You can have a hissy fit. I talked about the possibility of releasing the unredacted copies of the ethics complaints against me on a different platform. I have not done so, by the way. I have not done so. I merely talked about it. That, I believe, is my third strike. It's not quite clear yet, or still, I should say, because YouTube just doesn't really engage you on what exactly your violation was. If they did, it'd be nice, because then you could provide context, you could give them full information, you could properly appeal the decision. But they kind of don't do that. That'd be, like a nice thing to do for your content creators and collaborators, but they don't. That was the termination of my channel. I did not violate the terms of service of YouTube on any of those 3 strikes. I knew I had not, but mass flagging campaigns unfortunately work. And they work really well. Even though YouTube says that you shouldn't be doing it, that creators doing that are actually in violation of terms of service, they allow it constantly. So at this point, my YouTube account would be gone. My Twitter account would be gone. My Twitch account would be gone a little bit later. We'll get to that. Not really a long story there. So my channel is deleted, and the internet supported me immediately and loudly. I had retweets from million follower Twitter accounts, or not retweets, because I'm gone, remember? Tweets from million follower Twitter accounts. I had support from huge YouTube content creators. And I've talked and thanked all of these people before. This is already going to be too long of a video, so I won't do it again. Just know that everybody who helped me out, I appreciate it. So many people had my back. It was ridiculous. Thousands and thousands and thousands of likes and retweets on all of these things. Other friends made videos about it, spread the word. And the only thing that I ever asked anybody to do is if they said, hey, what can I do? I would say, please share my locals page so that people know where to find me. And by the way, if you're still watching this for the story and you don't know, rekietalaw.locals.com. Go there. That's where my community is finding itself. We're growing constantly. We've got individual content. And most importantly, for free, you will always get a notification when I am going live, whether it's on my channel or anywhere else. So you can always follow wherever I am. That's on locals. rekietalaw.locals.com. Okay. Sorry. Got a grift a little bit. So the first thing I've got to do is I got to start broadcasting on Rumble right away. Once the suspension goes in, I move over to Rumble for live streaming. And that's, for now, where I'm going to stay live streaming. There will be plenty of content here on YouTube, but I'll be live streaming primarily on rumble.com/rekietalaw. Go check it out. But the outpouring of support was huge. Now, my partner manager and I were already working on a strategy against this mass flagging campaign. My partner manager knew that it was based on a lie. My partner manager knew that it was from another creator and that was against the rules of YouTube. And so we had developed already a strategy to try and get at least one of my strikes overturned, the second one. The problem with the second strike, I should mention this. This is an important point. I knew that video was going to get mass flagged because they said it. They put it out on Twitter and they said to mass flag it. I deleted the video from YouTube. Still up on Rumble and Odyssey, but I deleted the video from YouTube because I tried to prevent the mass flagging. This is a mistake. Never do this. If you're a YouTube content creator and you believe that a video is violative of community guidelines, do not delete it. They punish you for trying to prevent a community guidelines infraction. YouTube, this is the stupidest policy that you could possibly have. They do not allow you to appeal a deleted video. So, if you're worried about community guidelines mass flagging, private your video. Because even if you delete it, the URL stays active and people can still go to the deleted video and report it. So I could not actually appeal the second strike manually. Now, again, fortunately, I had a partner manager who was working on how to actually do this. We were developing a document to document the harassment campaign against me. And all of the stuff that got flagged down and all of the people boasting about it, thank you so much. You provided us all the evidence we needed to bring to the escalation team at YouTube and show that this was a mass flagging campaign, falsely flagging me through a lie. Thank you. Also, you're boasting about it, all of you boasting about it, that helped too. And Keffels, to you, thank you for saying that your opponents were ontologically evil and you'd be willing to lie about them to get them removed from society and that you would be justified. Turns out you were not. And that is a big part of why I'm back on YouTube. So thank you for that tweet, you fucking idiot. Okay. That said, we immediately went to work. At the same time, everybody is tweeting about this, talking about the false flagging. And this is another critical element of what happened. I was only banned from YouTube for 3 days. It felt like a month. Legitimately, losing something that you've worked on for so long to an arbitrary decision is jarring. And I knew I would be fine. I knew I had a path forward. In fact, my Rumble streams blew up. And my Rumble streams are still pushing 2 to 3 times the viewership of my YouTube streams. That's what happens when you're not suppressed. And by the way, YouTube, the amount of money that you left on the table by suppressing me, one of the top super chat earners on earth, is mind-blowing. Because instead of suppressing me, if I wasn't fighting against you, if we had worked collaboratively, who knows? Who knows how big it would have been? But if I had 2 to 3 times the audience on an alt tech platform than I have on YouTube every single day, I would probably have 10 to 15 times the audience on the primary platform. And that means a whole lot more super chats that would have put money directly into YouTube's pockets. They act adverse to their financial interests consistently. Now I'm tangenting. Let's get back to this. Those 3 days felt like a month. I was streaming on Rumble. Like I said, I knew I would be fine. Don't ever worry about me. The magical thing happened where the Twitter campaign met our appeal narrative. And this is perfect. The Twitter campaign, completely organic, by the way. I didn't tell anybody to do this or even ask. From several high-profile accounts was that I was mass flagged and falsely and wrongly removed from YouTube This is true, of course. YouTube actually takes notice of this when you go on Twitter and tag Team YouTube. This is another failing of the YouTube system. Your creators should not have to go to Twitter to get your attention. You should give them your attention on your platform, you idiots. But people were tagging Team YouTube and they took notice. And I know they took notice because I actually received anonymously from a Google employee a portion of a document that specifically showed my channel being reported as being mass flagged. The reporting of that mass flagging was noted internally. Team YouTube was given an instruction to not engage those tweets. And they reviewed it internally. When they reviewed it, guess what they found? Our appeal, which laid out exactly how the mass flagging happened and all of the falsehoods in it. I am still a lawyer. I can craft a narrative around facts. And so, then my channel was reinstated. Like I said, that was 3 days from the deletion. Have been called Lazarus for rising, but we'll get away from all that for just a minute and talk about what's to come. The reason you haven't seen a video on my channel until now is because despite the fact that it was a false flagging campaign, a strike was still applied to my channel as it was deleted. So after being returned, there was a 14-day suspension. These will eventually fall off. But for right now, I am still on relatively thin ice. I will not be streaming on YouTube, or at least until the strikes are gone. It is far too risky and destructive. It cost me unreal amounts of money. Unreal amounts of money. But this is part of the business of YouTube, I guess, where your income can just be shut off temporarily at their whimsy. But hey, that's how it goes. That's the game we play, right? Well, not really. I won't be streaming on YouTube. It has nothing to do with actual terms of service violations, by the way, of which, in my opinion, there are 0. But I know that Rumble won't arbitrarily remove me like YouTube did. And so that's where we will be for now. And I have been killing it over there. And I would suggest you give it a shot because it's fun and it's free and it's freedom. The other place that you find me the most right now is rekietalaw.locals.com. I have a 24/7 live chat for the community, and that is an exclusive chat for supporting members. Those supporting members have their own chat for every stream that I do that no one else can access. You have to be a subscribing member to do that. And that community is hilarious and great, and I like them very, very much. And if you're from the live streaming community here on YouTube, you'll recognize a lot of the names. A lot of the names and a lot of the people. I will be clipping my content and editing it and sanitizing it for YouTube. I will be taking YouTube's advertising dollars as much as possible. Anything I can take from them, I will take from them, of course. As for live streaming, we'll see what the future holds. But currently, my plans are Rumble and Odyssey. Come check me out. We have a ton of fun on these shows. I still do live trial coverage, by the way. And it's pretty good. But I'm going to wrap this video up, guys. I just wanted to tell you what happened. Because when this happens to you, the worst part of all of it is that there are 490,000 people, 480,000 people, somewhere in there, 480,000 people that have at one point in time wanted to hear from me, and I couldn't tell them. Being banned off of YouTube, even coming back, I wasn't able to make a post for 14 days. I had so many comments. Where are you? Why aren't you covering this trial? What's going on? No more videos? Did you die? Did you quit? This is a sinister and nefarious aspect of how YouTube enforces its community guidelines policies. They don't let you tell your audience why you suddenly aren't engaging with them. They don't let you tell your audience what happened. They don't tell your audience either. You just have to take a week or 2 weeks off silently. And YouTube says that, oh, no, that'll be fine. When you come back, everything will be fine. It's not. It's never fine. Your engagement is not the same. Your momentum is shattered. People get angry. It doesn't take long, by the way. 1 week for people to lose interest in your show. 1 week for the algorithm to stop distributing your content. When it's 2, it's worse. YouTube knows this. They pretend it's not true. And they also pretend to care about the mental health of their content creators. My mental health is fine. I'm a narcissist. I'm self-centered. I'm self-motivated. But when this happens to other people, it leads to very, very real and very, very serious mental health side effects. And I'm betting YouTube's enforcement of their policies in this way has led to a couple hospitalizations and probably several suicides. They should maybe rethink that, since they care about the mental health of their creators. And I'm not saying don't enforce your policies. I'm saying allow the creators to at least tell their community what happened. That's the severance that causes the damage. My pontification here is over. Come join me on Locals, join me on Rumble. Enjoy the short content here. I know you guys do. I won't just be making clips, by the way. There will also be independent videos being made. And most importantly, if you're still here, my darling wife, the real Lady Rackets, has started posting content to her YouTube channel. So go ahead and give that a shot too. If you ever saw her and liked her, she's great. I'll post her link down in the description, along with a link to my Locals and my Rumble. And until then, guys, until next time, thanks for always supporting me, always having my back. Thanks for watching the show and making this a possibility for me, something that I never thought I'd be able to do. Just tell jokes, tell stories, try to make the world a little bit of a better place, and get paid a shitload of money to do it. Catch you next time, guys. Peace. Peace.
Oh, he drinks a fair bit, but you realize that it just helps get his noggin jogging along. With his glass by his side and his kids asleep tight, we'll hear some law-splaining tonight. With his microphone muted, we'll laugh at this boomer until he explains it's all part of the plan. Watch his face become redder as he becomes meta, raging at idiots from Twitterland. From the white shores of Maine to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, his lady is fair, and she handles herself with the grace of one who has borne many children. As the wife of a lawman, she makes sure that he has the time and the place to provide for them there. So pour out an art bag, a bow, more of the Freud. The spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear law-splaining tonight. From the white shores of Nam to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we are now. Oh, the guests are all planet folks, from Doug T to Drexel. They bring their perspective and spice to the mix. But the reason we're here and the one that we cheer is the one who is showcasing us his career. pour out an Ardbeg, a Balmore, a Lafroig. Spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear Lost Blaming tonight. From the wide shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the throng better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we